How's it going, everyone? I'm your host, Travis Booker, the co founder and president of the Golden Door Foundation. I'm here today with another installment of the Golden Spotlight interview series. Today, I have with me Jamence Jenkins. Jamece, how are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Travis. How are you?
I'm doing all right, enjoying my Sunday. So, if we want to start out and get you to just introduce yourself to the people, let them know who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
My name is Jamence Jenkins. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. I'm currently a naval officer in Norfolk, Virginia on the USS Ramage.
Nice, nice. Okay, so get into a little bit of your background. Since you're from Columbia and also went to Eau Claire High School, Shamrock's in the building. What was it like growing up in Columbia or going to Eau Claire? How was life back then?
It was good. So we're from the country, so I guess it was a little bit slow compared to some people's childhoods, but I mean, I enjoyed it. And as far as going to Eau Claire goes, I enjoyed my time at Eau Claire. It's probably some of the best years I had. So yeah.
Nice, nice. And so you mentioned that you were a naval officer. What's the background to that? Like, did you start out in high school doing anything? And was there any educational background that you need to establish that job?
So my original intentions were to go enlisted, but Chief Rose and Colonel Sass from Eau Claire thought it'd be good if I tried to go officer, and they kind of set me up to where I got interested in the Naval Academy, and I went there. And so once you graduate from the Naval Academy, you automatically get a commission into the Navy. So in order to be a naval officer, you have to have a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
Or at least an associate's degree.
Got you. So you're the first person that I've interviewed that's been in the military, and you've also went to the academy. So how was the academy different from what you know about college? Like, I think some people may think it's still like boot camp, but could you explain the academy life?
So it's a lot more restrictive than regular college. I wouldn't say boot camp. They try to make it like boot camp the first couple of weeks you're there. But once the school year starts, it's mostly about education and like your classes and stuff like that. I guess one reason why a lot of people think it's boot camp is because at the Naval Academy particularly, you can't leave campus during the week. There are some special circumstances to that. You go to meal a certain time, you have to study a certain time, you have to work out at a certain time, and for the most part, you got to go to sleep by a certain time, or so it's definitely different than regular college. Not a whole lot of partying or anything like that. I mean, you can definitely find the parties on the weekend. That's another thing. Like certain year groups have restrictive hours; they can be out in town, so that's another thing. The freshmen can't go out at all except on like Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoons. And then as you like progress through, you can have a little bit more free time over the weekend. So
Oh, wow.
it's different.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that's important for students that maybe want to go to an academy or maybe through ROTC in college. I think that's important for them to know how different it is and what to expect with that. But how did the academy set you up or prepare you for life as an officer?
So like their main thing is to make you into a naval officer. So from the very beginning, you're learning about leadership and different aspects of the Navy and different communities. And as you progress through the Naval Academy, you're put into leadership positions so that you can get that leadership experience before you get into the fleet. And they're trying to build you up so that you're ready to be a naval officer. So I would say it's directly related to your job once you get out in some way. Even if you don't go the regular community, you'll be prepared in some way.
Okay. And speaking of being prepared in something, do you choose your major or is that something that they choose for you? How does that process?
So you get to choose your major. I chose history. I originally wanted to be an engineer, but looking at how things were going, that wasn't going to work out. So I did my second favorite choice, and I became a history major. But you get to choose it.
Okay, all right. And so then we're going to jump right into your career itself. So once again, can you tell the people what it is that you do, and then I guess explain to us what it is that you do as far as your daily tasks and responsibilities?
So I'm the anti-submarine warfare officer on a destroyer, and mostly what my job is, I run the ship if there is a submarine threat or a submarine presence. Most of the time, we're not in a submarine area where we would be close to one. So for the most part, I just run the program, training, just making sure the ship is prepared just in case.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool. So I hope some people go look up that job while they're watching this video or after that video. But could you explain maybe or go into some details about what is life like on a ship? Because I mean, obviously, I think people that's in the Navy that's been on the ship are only people that know. So could you give some insight into what's that like?
So on a destroyer, I think it's pretty close knit. There's about 300 people on the ship. It's a lot smaller than what people think it is. Like your room is like a closet. Everything is small. The food is okay. You have to stand watch, and sometimes you don't get a lot of sleep, but that's okay. But at the same time, you can have really good days. You can go fishing on the back of the ship some days. The destroyer is known for going really fast and doing little fast turns, so sometimes that can be really fun. You get to do a lot of fun evolutions and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not the most glamorous ship to be on, I would say, but it can be one of their funnest ships. But it's known for being like one of the tougher platforms to be on because it's so small and it's capable of doing so much.
Gotcha. Understood. So with that being said, being that you said it's a tougher environment to be on, one of the toughest ships to be on, I guess I want to ask you about challenges. Have you experienced any challenges on the ship or in the Navy or going through the academy, that you overcame to this point?
Oh, most definitely. Like academics was a big challenge for me because I think there were a lot of classes I didn't know existed until I got to college. So adjusting to like taking like multiple calculus classes, like I've had people who took like IB classes, which is I think is like a higher level or AP classes, and that was really different. Taking multiple chemistry, multiple physics classes, so that academic aspect was really hard for me. The athletic part was kind of hard too. Because I mean, I played sports in high school, but I wasn't like prepared for the type of fitness that they wanted at the Naval Academy. So that was a big challenge for me. Like I struggled with that like my whole time at the academy. Culture is pretty different too. That was a challenge because I think going to Eau Claire, you're a majority, and when I went to the Naval Academy, I was a minority.
Right.
That was pretty different. And then in the Navy, that I think the rest factor is a big thing that gets people upset about a lot of stuff, like not getting enough sleep and sometimes not being probably appreciated for the job that you do, like on the ship, because it seems so minute sometimes, but it can have a big impact in some way on the ship. I would say also it can be a challenge for like your family because you're away a lot, living in a different state.
Yeah.
Going out to sea for months on end. So there's definitely been a lot of challenges.
I understand. I'm going through that as well. But you challenged when it came to the culture. So coming from Eau Claire, a basically black high school in Columbia, going to the academy being the minority. So I mean, I guess for you it's kind of twofold, being black and then also being a black woman. So how was that? I guess adjustment to that culture shock. How did you handle that?
So I remember when I went to Naval Academy Preparatory School for a year up in Rhode Island, and I met one of my first friends. We were playing this intramural sport on the field, and she ran up to me. She's like, "Hey, are you the only black person in your squad too?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, me too." And that's how we became friends. So it doesn't tell you anything. There's not a lot of us, and we definitely like recognize each other. When I graduated from the Naval Academy, there were like 22 black females in my class, and I wouldn't say it's difficult. It's definitely different. You definitely notice some things, how people treat you a little different. Like I got called the angry black female. A lot of times I was known for being sassy.
Wow.
And I guess people just weren't used to it. I didn't take offense to it at first.
You should.
Because where I'm from, everybody's like probably a little sassy or a little upset about everything. But it was definitely different, but not impossible.
Right. I got you. So switching gears here. I know you've been in the Navy for a couple of years, but what are some of your goals right now and moving forward? And it can be professional or personal.
So right now, actually, I'm in the process of beginning my paperwork to transition out of the active duty Navy and into the reserves. I have some educational goals to where I want to go teach. So I'm actually in the planning phases of that. So my goals is to teach high school eventually. See where that leads me to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why is it that you want to teach?
I think that for me, I've had a lot of influences when it comes to education, and I think I want to be that influence for somebody else. So.
Okay. That's dope. That's dope. And speaking of that influence, one of my other like miscellaneous questions here is about mentors. Have you had any mentors in your life that has helped you get to where you are now?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Different officers from when I was at the academy to where I got out of the academy. Colonel Staff, Chief Rhodes from Eau Claire. Different people I've met, just in general. A lot of my friends. I mean, I think it'd be really hard to do this without having somebody to ask questions to or lean back on, like, hey, am I doing this right? Or what do you think about this?
All right. And then another miscellaneous question. What are any accomplishments that you've had in the military or personal that you're maybe proud of, or maybe is there something that you wish you could have done differently? I know it's kind of like a two-part question, either or type thing, I guess.
That's fine. I would say the graduating from the Naval Academy has been a big accomplishment for me. I mean, that was pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, I want to say getting to that 5-year mark in the Navy.
That's an accomplishment. Yeah. It is. It is. Some people get kicked out.
Yeah, that's true.
For a lot of people, that's definitely like a milestone for them. Like, this is my date of separation. So that's can be an accomplishment.
Yeah, getting qualified, I guess, as a surface warfare officer, that's a big thing for me too, because that's like your first big milestone for the Navy being an officer. So, I mean, I've had a couple. I don't really notice them all that much till later, though.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with being humble. What else do I have? Oh, so I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you will go back and tell your younger self, whether it's any advice or, to kind of push yourself towards something, or maybe be a little bit, I guess, like warned about something else? Is there anything you would go back and tell yourself?
I would definitely tell myself to put myself out there more. I have a tendency to be very shy. I still am. But if I could go back and talk to my young self, I would definitely be, push yourself out there more, volunteer more, be a little bit more of an extrovert, and not try to just be in the shadows or, step to the front of the plate and just not let other people be, that person, try to be that person.
Right. Yeah. Would you attribute that to maybe taking these leadership courses at the academy, or?
Yeah, I would definitely attribute to that, and just also just experience. Just thinking to yourself, man, I think I could have done that a little bit better. So.
All right. And so after giving advice to yourself, what advice would you give any potential, I guess, high school students, since that's our main audience here? What advice would you give them for those that want to join the military, whether that's enlisted or officer?
I would tell them to do their research. Talking to recruiters is great, but also probably talking to people that's actually in the fleet can be very helpful too. Don't just take one opinion though. Take multiple and just see what you can do with it. Have tough skin and take criticism well, I guess. And don't give up easily.
Okay, that's good advice to both to yourself and to those prospective service members. But I guess to wrap things up here, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience, or anything you want to leave with them before we wrap up?
I would just say that you never know until you try. So if you don't try, you'll never know. So just just lean forward, keep going. I don't know.
No, that's no problem. That's good advice, because I think a lot of kids in high school, they just, I guess, just sit back and let life come to them in a sense.
Yeah.
So, if they don't put themselves out there or just try things, they might not ever know what they want. Because even in your case where you said you kind of wanted to be an engineer at first and you kind of wanted to go enlisted, you put yourself out there, you kind of pushed, and now it puts you somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and you're successful at what you're doing. So that's pretty good advice for them. All right. Well, that is all the questions that I have for you today. Do you want to maybe tell, if any of these students want to reach out to you, want to tell them how they can contact you, if they had any questions for you?
Oh, most definitely. So I'm on Facebook as Jamence Jenkins. I also have a Gmail account if you want to email me. It's my first and last name, so JAMENCEJENKINS@gmail.com. I'm more than willing to talk about the military to people, officer or enlisted. Just get in contact with me.
All right, I'll make sure I put that like at the bottom of the screen in this video and stuff. But thank you for joining us again. I really appreciate it. As our first military member, I'm hoping that this, reaches to some students and help them kind of decide on what they want to do. So like I said, thank you for joining us for this interview series.
Thank you.
Of course. And so that has been another installment of the Golden Spotlight interview series. Hope you all join us for another one. See you.